I would have been okay with the corn cob on the head, Jason. I thought that looked pretty good on you. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. What a great afternoon to be here in Lincoln. What a great day to celebrate Husker athletics, our University of Nebraska, our flagship here in Lincoln, and Husker football. Now, I know you're not here to listen to me. In fact, I've already spoken to Meet the Chamber, and Matt, I don't think I had quite as many people here as you got today. This is just really special to be with this great crowd representing all parts of the business community, all walks of life here in Lincoln, and you're in for a real treat here over the next 20 to 30 minutes. I'm going to introduce Matt. I'm going to tell you some things that you've probably read about him in the paper, maybe you've seen him on social media, and then I'm just going to give you a little bit of insight as to how sometimes fate plays a card, and you just don't always know what's going to happen. In fact, for those of you who've gotten to know me, I've described my entire career in the Navy, even coming here, to be kind of that path, the path of the unknown, the path that I never thought I would take. I never expected in my life I would be the University of Nebraska system president, but here we are. Now, I met Matt on December 3rd, 2016. So think about how far back that was. And a lot of you don't know what that date was. If you were an Army-Navy fan, you say, well, that was a week before the Army-Navy game in 2016. But what it actually was the American Athletic Conference Championship game. Now, Navy had been an independent in football for over 125 years, joined the American Athletic Conference that was born out of what was supposed to be the Big East. Temple was already there, and a young coach named Matt Rhule was rebuilding this Temple team, a team that Navy had beaten for a number of years in a row. In 2016, Navy was number 19 in the country. We were hanging 70 points against SMU. We beat number 5 Houston that year in our first home opener. We beat Notre Dame for only the third time in 50 years that year in Jacksonville. Held Notre Dame to 6 possessions, beat them by a point. We were nearly a 2-touchdown favorite to win the conference before we would go on to the Army-Navy game. And we were hosting Temple at Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium. Temple showed up. At the practice moment, Matt Rhule had his team out there doing hitting drills. This is during warm-ups. I still remember being up in the stands going, what the heck is that? Never seen that before. And then the game started. We were down 24-3 by the half. Our starting quarterback, our starting running back were injured on the exact same play in the first quarter. Matt Rhule's team came in with a level of toughness and a new culture for, let's face it, a team that hadn't experienced that in a long time, and absolutely destroyed Navy. Destroyed them, 34-10. We lost to Army, by the way, the next week for the first time in 15 years because we got beat up so much by this Temple team. I got to meet Matt down in Florida when we did our post-end-of-the-year meetings, and the coaches in the American Athletic Conference back then were names that you recognize. Scott Frost, Central Florida. Tommy Tuberville at Cincinnati. And Matt Rhule. And although I got to talk to a lot of the coaches, the coach I remember talking to the most was that coach at Temple, Matt Rhule. Now, you all know the story of what we went through last season, and as Trev and a number of us were deeply involved in this search for our next football coach, as fate would have it, the name Matt Rhule came up. And obviously, many of you know, and Trev and I were very well aware of what Matt had not just done at Temple, but what he had done at Baylor. I mean, within some number of years, getting to 9, 10, 11 wins, being champions in their conference. Then going on to coach at the NFL level, which today, next year when we start the season, there will only be 6 football coaches in all of college football who will have been previously an NFL head football coach. So what you should know is we hired Matt Rhule because we want to get back to a culture of winning, a culture of toughness, and a team that you are all going to be proud of. Because as everybody in this room knows, yes, what everybody in this room knows and everybody in the state knows is Husker football is that one thing that brings us all together. It's the one thing that we care about so much, that we have so much pride in, that we have to get it right. We have to get it right. And I will tell you, Trev Alberts did an amazing job with the search. I'm really proud of what he did. I'm really proud of where we are. And I'm proud of where we're going to go. And that's what you're going to get the chance to listen to today. So ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, the 31st head coach and chief executive operating officer of Husker football, Matt Rhule.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Wow. All right, that's it, guys. Doesn't get much better than that. My goodness. Can you guys hear me on this one? Okay. Well, hey, first of all, thank you so much for having me. It means a great deal to me that you'd all be here. And it's great that we have, I don't know if it's a record crowd, but so many people here. With that comes some pressure, and some pressure for you guys. Because what people don't know about me is not the smartest guy, but I have kind of like a photographic memory. And I've been walking around the room looking at everybody. I know everybody that's here. And the next time I get invited here after I've coached a couple games, I want to see who's here then. Not just here. There's no who's here now. No, thank you so much to Admiral Carter. It's a blessing for him to bring me here, for Trev Alberts to bring me here. And if you don't mind, just quickly, I'd like to, one of the keys with coming here was I wanted to come here with the right people and the right partners. And I have a couple people that work for me that are here that I think are people that you in the Lincoln community might want to know and might want to have relationships with, because I hope you feel like we very much want to be a part, not next to, but a part of the community. So the people that work for me, if you guys want to stand up real quick, please. So this is Dr. Susan Elza, okay? She's our chief of staff. Gordon Thomas is our director of football operations. Sean Patton's our general manager, runs all of our recruiting efforts. And SJ, are you still here? Oh, and SJ is assistant to me and assistant to all the coaching staff and keeps all of our operations. So, and then Bobby's in the back. There you are, Bobby. Bobby's a student. And Bobby, for people here on TV, Bobby's an unbelievable play-by-play person and has visions of someday being that in TV. And he's going to make sure the video's right. So good luck, Bobby. But, thanks, guys. Thanks. So I think it's really important what Admiral Carter said, man. As we went through this process, I got fired. Like, we've all been through ups and downs, and I'm trying to teach the young people I coached. A lot of young people think that confidence is, hey, I know I can do it. Confidence is when you're laying on the ground, when you're at your deepest, darkest, worst moments, when no one else believes in you. Confidence is the belief inside that I will come back better than ever. And so as I went through that process of figuring out where I was going to go, it wasn't about places or schools necessarily at first. It was about people. Angie Alberts, Trev Alberts, Admiral Ted Carter. As we got to know those people, those were the three reasons why we came to Lincoln, with a fourth soon to come. To speak on Admiral Carter, at first, one of my mentors, a guy named Mike Lombardi, wrote a couple books, Gridiron Genius, former NFL GM. He was like, wait a minute, now the Admiral's there? I said, yes, sir. He's like, go work for the Admiral. I said, well, okay, yes, sir, but I'm still trying to figure this whole thing out. And then Bill Belichick called me. And Bill, he's kind of like real quiet and all that. He's like, well, Matt, I know Ted Carter. If Ted Carter's there, you should go work for him. I said, yes, sir, but I still wasn't sure. And then finally, my wife got so frustrated because she knew from day one that we should come to Lincoln, Nebraska. My wife said, stop being stupid. Go work for the Admiral. It's a true story. And they were right. They were right. So, but there's a fourth character. And a couple weeks ago, I got approached by some people, and we're not going to do it because that's not really my style, but they wanted to do one of these TV shows you see on Netflix where they follow a program for a year, but they're looking for characters and themes, and they're like, well, who are the characters? And I was like, well, you have Trev, and I guess you have me and Susan or Sean or somebody, and you have the Admiral, these great characters that they could talk about, and different things on the team. They said, but who's the central character? And this is true. This is true. I'm not going to get up here and say anything to you I don't mean. Who's the central character that we think can bring this whole story to life? And my answer was very simple, and I hope this works. It was Lincoln. It was Lincoln. Lincoln, Nebraska is what made the ultimate decision for us. Because, guys, I'm not a football coach. I'm just a man that coaches football. Okay? I'm a husband. I'm a father. At the end of the day, someday, man, it was really cool to see Coach Solich with his former players. Like, I hope we put championship after championship after championship here. But I got to see Coach Solich with his former players and with his family. My ADD is going to kill me if you guys keep taking pictures of me. It's okay. I'm sorry. I forgot to take my Adderall this morning. You're fine. I'm just teasing. But seeing Coach Solich with all his former players, seeing the love and respect and the impact he had on those young people's lives, man, that's what matters. And so for me, someone who, my daughters are going to move this summer, they're 10 and 7, and they moved 3 times in the last 6 years. Ain't going to be no more moves. There can't be any more moves. We search and search and search, and while at one point I was ambitious and I was searching for like the right place to do the things that I want to do, we were searching for home. And when we came here and we came to Lincoln, Bobby, what'd I do? The same thing happened to Coach Osborne. I don't know if it's me, Bobby. It says no signal. Same thing happened to Coach Osborne at our clinic. This is a true story now, and I got panicked. Coach Osborne said, this is the first time I've ever used a PowerPoint. And the thing went out, and I started walking up, and Coach Osborne looked at me and goes, I still have some gray matter, Matt. I'll be okay. And just absolutely shut me down and made me go sit down. We working, bro? Although I can freestyle it. All right, here we go. We better go fast now, boys. Let's go. So Lincoln, to me, Lincoln is the reason, man. Like, where can we go and raise our kids in a place where people are kind? Like, I grew up in New York City. I lived in Philly for the last 10 years. Like, the first time I was walking down the street in Lincoln, people say hello to me. I'm kind of looking at them like, what do you want? Like, they really want to know how I'm doing. So I thank you so much, not just for letting us come here, not just for letting us be the coach here, but for what's here and what you've built here. I went to dinner last night at the Oven downtown. You probably can't tell, but I like to eat great food. And I saw Brendan Stein. He was talking about, hey, 20 years ago when I was here, what was there and what's here now. Man, I live right down in the Haymarket until my family gets here, and walking around and going to coffee shops and talking to people and walking into businesses, man. It's great to be part of a community. It's great to be part of a community and in some small way try to do my part and you to do your part to make the community better. Because our kids are growing up in a world where they think community is something online. It's not. It's not. It's in person. It's around each other. It's this. So thank you. I keep this picture at me at all times. And I don't know what to talk about with you guys football-wise. And when they told me the media was here, I said I better keep it very, 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 no offense, guys. Keep it very, very, very basics. So I'm not going to talk a ton of football until you ask me about it, but I do want you to know exactly what I'm trying to do. At my core, this is exactly what I'm trying to do and how I want to build the program and the things that I can control. I love this picture because I, the son of a minister, truly, truly believe that the University of Nebraska deserves to have a program, a house that's built on rock. Like, we could come in and you see some other schools that that are very popular right now that, make sweeping changes and do all these quick fixes, and man, it's built on sand. And, people will come up to me and say, Coach, I really hope we're good this year. And in my mind, I'm like, I really hope we're good every year. And you guys know, because if you're sitting in this room, your business or what you're involved in, man, it stood the test of time. How do we make things that stand the test of time? We do them in a way that has a solid foundation that's built on the right things. And so for me, it's 2 simple words. It's mission and it's purpose. I am on a mission. I am on a mission to build the classiest, best college football program that there is. I am on a mission, whether it's how we run camps, how we travel, if we come down and have a movie night at your movie theater, I'm on a mission for us to be the very best of the best. There are no days off. There is no light at the tunnel. We don't relax. Every single day, our mission is to build something that lasts. Our mission is to make Admiral Carter have to go get a bunch of money and put a whole new press box up there because they got to put more championship trophies or more championship seasons up there. We have to win at the highest level and win every single day. So that's our mission, and it's important. Okay, but every coach that's come here, every coach at every school, man, they want to win. They want to put trophies. They want to do things at the highest level. I also have to live a life filled with purpose. because purpose is far greater than mission. And I say this to you guys here because if you hear me speak again next year, you're going to hear me say the same thing, because every decision I make is guided by this principle. Our purpose is to make sure that every young person that comes to play football for us, walk-on or scholarship, from Lincoln, Nebraska, or from Tallahassee, Florida, every single person says, you know what, my life is better for having been there. My life is better for having gone to UNL. My life is better for having gotten my degree from here. My life is better for having been pushed by the coaches and loved by the coaches. Like, our purpose is to make the people that are in our program better. And isn't that what our state needs? Don't you guys need people entering the workforce in this state who have been loved and pushed and are the best of the best? I know that's what I want. I know that's what I want for my kids. So as we look at building a home here in Lincoln, I want a home, both figuratively and literally, both where my kids live, my wife lives, and where we work, that is built on rock. So, what are those things that we're looking to do, man? We need another one of these, don't we? We need another one of these. And it's so cool to be in a place, man, like we cannot sit here and say that we are not trying to win championships. Now, you'll hear me say a lot, like, we're a 4-8 team. We have to earn the right. We have to earn the right. See, what happens sometimes is we spend so much time talking about the goals that we don't do the things it takes to get there. I'm pretty sure after Coach Osborne won his national championship, the next day he was talking about, all right, guys, now make sure we finish up our finals. He was talking about what was next. He wasn't living in the past. He wasn't talking about future goals. So, yes, I want the kids that come here, I want them to leave with rings. I want them to leave with championships. I want them to know that the University of Nebraska is the best of the best. One of the cool yet hard things about my job is every day if I try to leave my office, there's about 200 school kids coming in to take a tour. And it's fun, but it can take about a half an hour. Man, I want those kids to come in to see the newest one of these. So I make no mistake, we make no bones, we make no time frames, but we are here to win championships. Number two, we're here to educate and graduate players. And I'll just say this, education, like, I do not just believe in graduation, like, that's a non-starter for me. We're here to educate them. Every kid shouldn't come to college and just be thinking about what job am I going to get. They're here to learn how to learn. They're here to, like, want to discover things. They're here to want to be a part of it. So many of the kids that I coach, so many of them, the number one thing I have to work on with them is they don't have the confidence to speak up and say, hey, I believe in this, or I want to learn about this. They just want to kind of follow the cookie cutter model. We want to shatter that, man. We want kids coming and getting master's degrees. We want when you know that you hire a Nebraska football player, you're getting an educated man who has worked and pushed himself at the very highest level. So win championships, educate and graduate people, impact the community. I tell our guys on every Saturday night, like, hey guys, spring practice, hey, great scrimmage. Just remember this, tonight when you go out, whether it's to the library or to O Street, hopefully the library, but probably O Street. Like, every place we walk into, every single place that we walk into, every party, every restaurant, every study group should be better because there's a Nebraska football player there. Isn't that the truest measure of a man or a woman? Is that every place we go, we leave it better than we found it. I hope we attain all these things, but I promise you this, I will find a way to leave Nebraska football better than we found it. I can promise you I did that the places we all were before. Impact the community is so important for us. We want to represent and respect the University of Nebraska. Like, I want that N to mean something. It's amazing, and I know you guys know this. I didn't know this. I didn't know that if I was wearing a Nebraska shirt in Mexico, I would be getting yelled, "Go Big Red" at me. When I came out and took the tour of, Julie and I came out and checked out Lincoln, and we told Trev, like, we don't want momentum. We're not going to make a decision. We're going to go on vacation. And Julie and I, we went to Dublin. Arrived at 5 o'clock in the morning. Slowly walking our way through the airport. And we look up, we make a left, and all of a sudden there's this huge, like 60-foot Nebraska helmet from when they had played Northwestern. And I was like, man, either Trev really wants me or God is trying to tell me something. But like that Nebraska N, that to me stands for the best of the best. That stands for a university system that absolutely produces the hardest working, most intelligent, impressive people. Man, we sat there at an event that we had all the young scholars there talking to us, and I was listening to some of these things that young people do. You know what's crazy about the world now? You turn on Twitter, you hear all the bad things. You don't hear about the kids that are changing the world, man, and they're doing it all the time. And I want our players to do that. I want them to represent Nebraska, the University of Nebraska, the right way in everything they do. And then finally, I want them to go be pro football players. To see Cam Jurgens from Beatrice come here at 240 pounds and leave and go to the NFL and then come back and sit there and work out with the guys. Like, isn't that what it's all about, man? Like, come to Nebraska, impact the community, be a great steward of the university, win championships, get educated, change your life, and maybe go play pro football. See, that's what it meant under Coach Osborne. Not just the championship trophies. The championship trophies were the symbols of all that. But he didn't win championship trophies at the behest of, not doing these other things. I go to an event the other day, and I see all these former players at the Rocket, Johnny Rogers event, and I see NFL players and Heisman Trophy winners. I see how much they love Nebraska. I see how much they give back to the community. It's like we have a burden on our shoulders to make sure that we prove, because college football is becoming pro football, isn't it? They're changing everything. And we have to be the ones who show, you know what, no, you can educate people. You can push them to be great off the field and still kick people's tails on the field. You don't have to choose. The world thinks you do. We just think you don't. That's why I came here, because I know you guys don't think that either. If I go long, tell me to shut up. So, I'll leave you with this quote. I'll go to this quote quickly. This is Bill Walsh, one of the great coaches of all time, and this is a quote that I believe with all my heart, and he says, "The culture precedes positive results." I'll go down to champions behave like champions before they're champions. They have a winning standard of performance before they are winners. I said this at a place the other day. Sometimes people will walk up to me like, "Hey, coach, man, I'll walk down the street, walk into the mill to get my cup of coffee at 6:59, trying to, 7 a.m. on a Saturday they open, and I'll have someone stop me and say, "I'm drinking the Rhule-Aid, a little bit at a time." I'm like, what does that mean? Or I'll have people say to me like, "Man, we're winning the offseason again." Like, there's nothing wrong. And I will, forever as I'm here, I want us to win every single day. If our kids, right now we have a bunch of kids that are walking around looking for bugs for the entomology class. I want them to win that. I don't want them just to do the assignment. I want them to be the best in their class at that assignment. Culture comes way before the winning. Culture comes way before the winning. And when you've been at a place that's won, you guys have experienced the best of the best, the highs of the highs. You want to feel that again. I believe you have to humble yourself back to the point of like, what got us there? What does it take? And it's simple for me, man. Like, that's where we want to get. We want to go win a championship trophy. We want to the Big Ten. That's our goal. That's what our kids talk about. And what I have to remind them is there's 13 other Big Ten teams that start the year off with Big Ten champs. Purdue does it. Illinois does it. Indiana does it. Ohio State does it. Goals are easy. Every one of you has a goal. A quarterly goal, a yearly goal. We all have goals. Goals are easy, but execution is everything. Like, I've had a goal of losing 20 pounds for how long now, Sean? That's 98. Thanks, buddy. Goals are easy. Everyone has goals, man. Like, show me the daily work. And so for us, you hear coaches say it all the time, but I just want to, you'll hear me say it, but I want you to hear it from me. Like, it's just, tell me what steps you're taking, and I'll tell you where you're going to end up. Like, if I leave here, guys, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm going to Omaha. I really want to go to, Doug, I want to go to Omaha, man. Like, I believe in going to Omaha." And I tweet, like my kids now, I tweet that I'm going to Omaha. I Instagram a picture of me going to Omaha. I live stream going to Omaha, and I get on 80 West. And then I'm like, but no, I really want to get there, man. So I drive faster, and I drive faster, and I drive faster. It doesn't matter. I'm heading in the wrong direction. Like, show me where you're pointed. Show me where your next step is, and I'll tell you where you're going to end up. And then do you have the guts and the toughness to keep taking the next step after the next step after the next step? That we call process, and process wins championships. Process equals purpose. I'm pretty sure when they built that pyramid, they didn't do this. They didn't go like 3 stones and look back and be like, how's it look? And they put like 3 more stones. Don't we all do that in football? Isn't everybody trying to figure out how many games we're going to win right now? Aren't all the players saying that? Like, we just have to stack bricks. It says it on the stadium day by day, does it not? Like, we should probably just, as a football program, live day by day. Like, be great today. Be purposeful today. And you know what? If you just keep going day by day by day, stacking bricks with purpose day by day, you build amazing, amazing things. And everyone wants to know how they did it. I'm from New York City. I grew up in New York City. My dad was a pastor in New York City and a teacher. Used to go to the Empire State Building all the time. You know, when they started the Empire State Building, they said they were going to build it. What's the first thing that they did? They went down. They dug. They went the wrong direction. Why? Because they wanted to build a foundation with faith that, you know what, if we do this, and then we do this, and then we do this, and do this, we'll build something that's built to last. So yes, I like going to WWE, and yes, I like going to the rodeo, and yes, I like doing all those things, and some of those things are like just, you know what, someone invited me to go to the WWE. Like, invite me somewhere, I might go. Coach Cook invited me to go to the rodeo, and I'm not saying no to Coach Cook. Look at his record, look at mine. But understanding that small acts, day by day, of excellence lead to great, great, great things, which is what we want here. And guys, as I talk about purpose, I'll get into a little bit of football. For us, it's very simple. And it's so hard in today's society, but like, I want everything to be about us. Like, game 1, we're going to go play Minnesota. And then game 2, we're going to play Colorado. And that game's going to be all about who? Them. But I want it to be about us. And then we're going to come home and we're going to play Northern Illinois. And our guys, naturally, as 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, they're going to want to make it about the win or this. And I want to make it about us. Because what's the difference between playing Michigan and playing Northern Illinois? Like, every game that we play in is a big game. Every game that we play in is a big game because we're in it. If we play in it, it's a big game. I saw that. They learned that the hard way when at 3 and 8, they went to Iowa and beat a team that if they won was going to go to the championship game. I said, wow, that's a team with character. That team last year, that's a team that could have folded. But every game's a big game if we're in it. So we want to make it all about us. I want to make it all about the players that are there. We're going to learn from the past. We're going to live in the future. We're going to learn from the past. We're going to prepare for the future. But we're going to live in the now. All about us. Number two, we just want to get 1% better. That day by day by day mindset, man, like Corey, our strength coach, is really cool, and he comes up with cool slogans, and they break it down every day to 1 better, and I was like, what the heck does 1 better mean? He's like, it's a cooler way of saying 1%, coach. I got it. So I want us just to be like 1% better. That's our process. Everything counts. Like, everything we do has to be elite. Like, what does getting out in the community, what does our guys going and reading to kids in Lincoln schools, what does that have to do with winning a championship? Nothing, but everything. Nothing but everything. Because how you do anything is how you do everything. And if we're saying the standard here at the University of Nebraska is a championship caliber standard, then when we do community service, when we do a bug project, when we go out in the community, when we go to the rodeo, it has to be to that standard. And then finally, no matter what we do, we own it. So our grit, our glory. Our. You know, as a fired coach, you know, you usually don't get hired right away. But I did. Thank you. And I don't look at what I did in Carolina and say, man, I failed. I don't look at that. I don't look at it like that. I said, man, I did these things well. I did these things good enough. It wasn't good enough. I move on to the next chapter in my life. And the message I've tried to have to our kids is, if it truly is all about us, then we have got to own our work ethic, our grit. We have to own the results, our glory. We have to own it. In today's society, man, where you could just take one picture of a highlight, you could take one picture of something good and forget the rest, we're not going to be that type of team. We're going to own it. But we own it because we believe that we control winning. We don't believe that some ghost controls winning. We don't believe the refs do. We don't believe the Big Ten's out to get us. We don't believe any of this stuff. We own the results. And that is such a powerful thing. People say that power corrupts. I don't believe that. I believe in football that powerlessness corrupts. When you're hopeless to change your situation, when you believe that you're powerless to change your fate, you give up. I don't want our guys giving up. I want our guys owning every single thing that they do, and that's our process. So to sum it all up, guys, for you guys, man, what's my plan? How am I going to do it? I'm going to go find winners. Winners sometimes aren't the biggest, they aren't the fastest, they aren't the strongest, might not be the highest recruited, but every kid that I look at in recruiting or as a walk-on or every person that I hire, are they a winner? Are they a winner? Because winners can get knocked down, they can get pushed to the side, they can get overlooked, but in the end, winners win. So find the winners, get them on the field, find the winners, get them in the building, and we're going to have a process, a day by day, getting 1% better, and a standard. That standard had better be championship. Everything that we do, every single thing that we do. Like, if I left here and you guys were like, man, he was like, I didn't recycle this. I sat there with my own 2 hands and made this PowerPoint. Yes, Bobby? Because I have a standard for everything I do. Now, I might have pulled a couple slides. I ain't going to lie about that. But maybe it's good, maybe it's not, but it's mine. We're going to have a standard for everything we do. We're going to have a process, add in a little strategy. Hopefully we think a lot about the way we do things, the way we recruit, the way we call plays, the way we manage the game. You have a process and standards. You add in strategy, and, man, you win. And I'm not talking about win-win where you win a game. I'm talking about winning, like winning. Like where you walk on the field, you expect to win, and when you're just about to lose, you expect to win still. You expect to win still. Not the here we go again, not oh my God. I'm talking about no matter what's happening against you, you expect to find a way to win. You don't expect him to find a way for us to win. You expect a way to win. Winners plus process and standards plus strategy equals winning. I don't know your world. I can't even balance my own checkbook. My wife does. That's true. But I know you probably have to do something similar to this. Get the right people, have a standard, do it every single day, make the right decisions, and eventually you win. That's what we're going to do at the University of Nebraska, on the field, off the field, in the community. I hope you guys will help us as we do that. And I had a slide I'm going to go past because we're getting long. I'm going to finish with this. Did I talk long enough that I don't have to answer questions, or do I still have to answer questions? Like, the great battle in life. The great battle in life, everybody thinks is good versus evil. Good versus evil. Like later, you're John Wayne versus the bad guy, the good guy versus the bad guy, good versus evil. Darth Vader versus Luke Skywalker, or my personal favorite, the Huskers versus the Hurricanes. Everybody thinks the greatest battle is good versus evil, but it is not. The greatest battle is great versus good. Great versus good. Great versus good. You know, I make fun about my weight sometimes. You'll see me a skinny version of me at some point, but I'll say this. The reason why I can never lose 20 pounds is because I always lose 10. I get complacent. The reason why it's hard to go 12-0 is because 8-4 after you've been 4-8 feels pretty good. Winning feels good. And if you don't have that process, and if you don't have those standards, man, you'll stay in your comfort zone. And I've been sharing a quote with some guys that I read in a book recently, so it's not mine, but I think it's exactly what I share with our players, man. Your comfort zone, that place of complacency, your comfort zone, and we all want to be comfortable. Your comfort zone is the casket where your dreams go to die. Complacency. 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 Like, it would be so easy. I have a good contract. We get a good deal from the Big Ten. It would be so easy for us just to sit there and say, hey, let's be average. We might not ruffle as many feathers if we're just average. We should unabashedly, as a community in Lincoln, as a state in Nebraska, as a university system, and as an athletic program, and certainly as football, do whatever it takes that history looks back and says, thank goodness they did that. Sometimes when we make the right decisions now, they aren't popular. Sometimes when we make the right decisions now, people challenge us. But history is the ultimate guide. History will look back and say, they figured it out. Because if we do what everyone says we should do, then everyone could have done it. You guys are difference makers. We're going to try to be difference makers. I hope you'll be a wonderful, 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 wonderful friend to us, because we're going to try to be a wonderful friend to you. So thank you guys very much. Thank you.
Give us a couple
Yeah.
questions. All right. Make sure this check. Yep, I'm going to make sure we're on. Coach, I'm going to lead with a question. And by the way, I want to thank everybody that submitted questions. for a second. I said, Mia, there's no questions in the portal. She said, refresh your page, and then there was plenty. So you guys did a great job. First one, I'm just going to read it. Hey, Coach, just wanted to know how often we will be running the I formation this season. I'm sure all of Husker Nation would love to see it very frequently.
Is that a real question?
That is a real question.
Where would you like me to stay? I'll stand there. I'd hate to give away our strategy. But no, if you go back and watch us at Temple, I think some people think like, oh, they're playing into their audience. Like if you go back and watch us at Temple, we had a fullback, and he was a great one. And some games he might play 6-7 plays, and some games played South Florida, who was a ranked team, and they didn't know how to stop it, and we ran it about 40 times. So we believe in football's changed. Football's kind of got to the point where a lot of people like to be in like one personnel grouping and play a little faster. And I think just for the diversity of getting our best players on the field and letting all of our guys participate, we try to do a bunch of things. So yeah, we'll play with the fullback. We're having a fullback camp this summer. In fact, Coach Solich and I knew Coach Solich a little bit, but I reached out to him when I got the job. We talked a little bit. We talked about the fullback. And this is a true story now. I'm sitting on a boat with my family in the ocean looking at whales jump while my son's on his phone watching the TCU Michigan game because my wife didn't pay attention to the times of the games. It's true. And all of a sudden I get a text from Coach Solich. The first play, Michigan hands an ISO off, goes for about 50, and he goes, I told you there's still place for the fullback. I said, yes, sir. So we will play with a fullback.
Awesome. Given Nebraska's size and alumni base, is NIL a blessing or a curse?
Well, let me say this first. Like when I was in college football the first time, there was no NIL. And having to come back, I've had to adapt to it. But, there's things I'm sure in your business and your lives that have changed. And maybe sometimes we like them, maybe sometimes we don't. At its core, at its fundamental core, I believe in NIL. Imagine if Tommy Frazier had NIL. I bet you he'd have had a good deal, right? I bet you someone would have wanted to put his name on their business. And so at its core, I believe in it. I think, what gets lost in it, we hear these big numbers on TV. Like, I can tell you this, I have some kids who any NIL dollar they get or any scholarship dollar they get, they send that home to their families. I got guys whose stepsisters are in foster care and their mom's in jail and their dad's gone. So every kid has a different story. And so I don't know what's wrong with putting the right amount of money in kids' hands as long as you educate them and the people that do that for us do a good job. So in that part, I believe in it. One of the things for us here is key in recruiting is to get people here. And if people, they come and like it, if I'm Jamari Butler and I'm from Alabama, his mom's never seen him play a game. She's never been able to get here. She's finally able to get here now because of NIL. She was able to get here for once for the spring game. So putting some money to parents from far away or from the kids that are here. What if I'm from Nebraska and I want to go see my son play at Michigan State and I don't have that money? Like, it was different when we were all busing to Iowa State, yes? We were all busing to Missouri. It's a different world now, and so there's so many positive applications. I'd love to see some of our walk-ons. This is a place that, what place loves walk-ons more than the University of Nebraska? And as rosters change and Title IX has changed sort of the numbers that are there, doesn't mean we can't have a great, so why should a kid, if I can help them some way, not me, the people, but if they can help them some way in terms of paying a little bit of school. So I think there's a lot of things. In terms of how we're doing, I think we have great people that are working to make sure that we have a tremendous vision for it. Trev's working with the outside people to make sure we have a vision to make sure it's in place. But I think it's a good thing, and I don't think people should be as scared of it. There's always going to be people that misuse everything. But just so we're on the same page, there's people that were doing NIL before there was NIL, okay? So let's just even the playing field a little bit.
Here's one that's going to hit directly to that, too, and it's something that I know everybody in this room thinks about when they're thinking about their workforce and their business's future. So what can the community of Lincoln do to make itself more attractive to high-caliber football recruits and players?
Well, I think it's there. I mean, when Trev drove me around and we drove me around downtown, I was like, man, if we can't recruit here, where can we recruit? I think, as I said, that the biggest character in that show would have been this city because it has something for everybody. And I want people to see that. And so as we recruit kids from across the country, they have to be a fit here. I'm not trying to fool anyone into coming here. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes a kid comes in, I'm like, he's not going to like it here. But I want kids that come in eyes wide open, like, this is what it's about. This is the standard. This is the city. And I think this community has so much to offer So I think just continue to do what you're doing, and I think every time we invest in our infrastructure, it just brings more. And it's not just about football players; it's students in general. Like kids from all across the country should want to come here, get a great education, and be a part of this community.
We'll wrap up on this one. What has surprised you about Nebraska since getting here and taking the job? And I think they are asking this question for good or for bad. Like, what are the surprises?
Well, I'm probably not going to give a bad answer, right? Well, Trev brought me here during the Illinois game, and it was a beautiful day. Like no one really told me about the wind and how cold it would get in the mornings in the spring. That's true. So we have morning practice. The first morning practice is at 6 a.m. and I'm from the Northeast. I'm from Pennsylvania. I coached in Buffalo. Like I think I'm tough. So I'm out there. I always wear my hat, and I always got my sweatshirt on. I got my shorts and no gloves. And the first day it was about 24 degrees, and I was out there, and the indoor's over here, and I was like, we're not going in the indoor, and stood there for a few more minutes, like we're not going in the indoor. Then the kickers went in the indoor, and I said, I better go check out and see how those kickers are doing. So the spring versus the fall, I didn't really get it, but I just would say for the state, as I went across the state, I don't know that I realized, and I'm from a place very similar at Penn State, I don't know that I realized how many people's families all across the state, so many of their good memories, so many of their family times were spent around Husker athletics and Husker football. Yeah. And as you look back, as you know, we lose people that we love, and you think about that time with your father and your grandfather, your uncle, so many of that was around this. And like, not a burden, what a responsibility, but what an opportunity to be that person and to be those people and to be a small part of it that has those memories for people moving forward. Because you know what? I recruit a lot of kids from Nebraska, and they don't remember that. They've only heard about what it was like. And so, again, I don't do time frames. I worry about today. But I work every single day so that you and all the kids across the state, man, so that they have something that they can be really proud of. Because it's really humbling, the fact to work at a place where, like, we know that if we aren't good next year, people are still going to come. Like, the loyalty of the Nebraska fan base is unbelievable. And it's kind of a blessing and a curse. You can get soft by that in this job. You can be like, well, they're still here, but we still have hey, look at the sellout streak, well, you know what? I want to put a team together that respects that sellout streak. And that we play in a way that when you spend your money to come here, man, it's because you want to see us play. And you know you're coming to watch a team that's practiced and prepared for that. So just how much it means to people beyond just the X's and O's and the wins and losses, but the experiences. I don't know that I ever got till I got here, but I'm grateful that I'm here.
Ladies and gentlemen, your coach and CEO
Thanks,
of Nebraska Football.
Nice, brother.
Yeah,
Man.
Yeah.
Hey, thank you, sir.
I don't know about y'all, but I'm ready to go out and run another marathon right now. Let's do this. That's awesome. I want to thank again our presenting sponsors as Emeritus, Klein Williams, Wright Johnson, and Oldfather